H-Files, Ghosts of a Coalmine, Part 3. Mike and I went to the local library, and we went inside to search for any relevant stories or news about the Mothman, and any appearances that may have occurred over the last 100 or so years. Like many others, we have heard many stories about the Mothman, but never actually met him. And like everyone else, we're not sure if he's supposed to be a harbinger of doom or trying to protect people. But we do know that whenever he does appear is right before a tragedy. So that's what we decided to look for. Any information. Going through the books, newspaper articles, or anything. And Mike was going through using the computer to zoom in on anything that might have been of relevance, while I was going through any books. And the reason I wasn't using the computer is sometimes the magical energy that surrounds me messes up with technology. It's not so bad. I've managed to have it under control pretty well, but in a stressful situation or when we're in a hurry, sometimes it does get worse. If I'm completely exhausted, that usually means I can use technology no problem. But in this case, I figured it'd be easier just to have Mike go on the computer and try to search for it. As I went through the newspaper articles, I got to the one talking about the mine collapse. And I started to flip through the pages. Got to the picture. Somebody managed to get a photograph of the shadow of the creature. Of course, it doesn't actually look much like a moth. Everybody just calls it that because nobody's actually gotten a very clear picture. He actually looks almost demon-like with bat-like wings. But his face is indescribable. It's not humanoid. It's very alien. Mike came over and told me that he found a little piece of information that there was another accident that occurred in a nearby town of a rock slide. That led to the deaths of almost 30 people. Then, a few years before that, there was a storm that had knocked over a tree that came down and crushed a car. Every single time, the Mothman was seen sometime before it, near the area. We did our best to find any relevancy and try to figure out how to stop it. But even with all the information that we had looked into, there was very little that we could do without knowing where the next tragedy was. Little did we know exactly how bad the next one was going to be. As we finished up at the library and got the information we were going to head back to the underground, back under the ground, to find these bodies, the coal miners. The only thing left that we could do is perhaps get the bones out and bury them. Maybe that would allow the ghosts to finally have some rest. But it was during this time that we received a phone call. Mike answered, "Hey, what's going on?" And then his face changed. He immediately stopped being his usual goofy self. "What do you mean? How many? We're not that far?" And he's like, "Okay." It turns out that while we were researching this, there was a train derailment, not even 100 miles away from where we were. Close to 137 confirmed dead so far, and on all we knew is that there was the sighting of the Mothman. We needed to head over that way. The ghosts in the coal mine were going to need to wait until we were finished. And then we headed back to the vehicle so Mike could drive. We needed to get to where the train derailed and see what exactly happened. All we knew was there was a lot of dead. We were also informed that there was somebody else who was on a case nearby, and he was going to head over. So we were going to meet up with Jack. We needed to figure out what was going on, and if we could find the Mothman.